Hi first graders, it's time for math today. Before we get started, I'm going to have you make sure you get all the materials that I'd like you to have. Okay? So the first thing and most important thing is that you have your centimeter cubes that you should have in your supply bag. Okay? Somewhere in there will be some centimeter cubes, and they're these little squares that we're going to use today to help us measure. So go ahead, you'll need those. You're going to need your Module 3 math book. I am on the page that says Lesson 4 Problem Set at the top. Okay? You'll see a picture of lots of different things. I see a pencil and a pan at the top, so you can look for that. Okay? You'll need those two things. I'd like you to get a dry erase marker for your whiteboard. Okay, you might have one that looks like this. Maybe you have one that looks like this. Maybe yours looks totally different. Any one is going to work today, okay? So just grab a dry erase marker that you do have. And then the last thing I'd like you to get is your glue stick, okay? Find yourself your glue stick. So let me lay those things out. You need your glue stick, your marker, your centimeter cubes, okay? And your problem set. Your Lesson 4 problem set in your math book. You're also going to need a pencil, so grab one too. Alright, go ahead and pause me please. Gather all the things you need and don't push play again until you have it all near you. Alright, I hope you have it all ready for you. I also have an I can statement. Okay, today it says, I can use a tool to measure. Boys and girls, today, these cubes are your tools, okay? Tools, not toys. When we use tools in school, we're using them the right way that the teacher asks us to, so that we can learn something new. So a tool helps us learn. Today, these centimeter cubes are our tools. So I can use a tool to measure. So we're going to practice measuring today. Measuring is when we find out maybe how long. In our case, we're going to be talking about the length of something. Measurement can mean a lot of different things though. So I am going to go ahead and just take some of my cubes out of my bag. Don't need too many, and I want to make sure I'm careful with them because if I lose them, I might not be able to measure longer things. So I'm going to set them kind of off to the side on my whiteboard. You can do the same. Okay. Now, when we measure, Mrs. Garris is not just going to say, boys and girls, ready, go. Okay? We have to learn how to measure the correct way with our centimeter cubes. Okay? There are lots of different ways that I have seen first graders measure with these, and guess what? There's usually only one way that is correct. Okay? So if you're looking for the correct answer on your work, you have to know how to measure correctly. I'm going to go ahead and get my glue stick that wants to roll away. Oh boy, okay, maybe I'll put, nope. I'm going to put my glue stick here. Let's see if it, stays. Okay, there, I'm using my little sticky notes to help me hold my glue stick in place, okay? Or, I wonder if I try this. There, I'm going to do that. I just had to switch directions there. Okay, when we measure first graders, we have to first make sure we are starting at the same end point. So if I were to draw an invisible line that you happen to be able to see, the bottom of my glue stick, I want to have the same end point. Okay? There's the bottom of my glue stick lined up with that end point, and I just made it a little longer so I have an end point for my cubes. Now you shouldn't have to draw an end point like this on things. Okay, you should be able to kind of just use your eyes and line things up. So, end points, we've talked about those. Remember, when we're comparing two things, we want to make sure that they have the same end point so we can really for sure tell if one's shorter or longer. Now to measure first graders, let me ask you a question. Do you think my glue stick is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 centimeters long? do you think? I hope you're calling me crazy and looking at me funny right now. Because no, my glue stick is not 5 centimeters long. I did not measure correctly here. I want to show you the incorrect way so that you can for sure know the correct way. Now, I did have my 1 centimeter cube in the right place. I put it at that end point. But if I want to measure the correct way, I am going to make sure my centimeter cubes are touching, and this requires you to be careful. Okay, because if you push too hard, then they might all move. Okay, and that's okay. Let's say you put one on the top and you move your whole thing a little bit like this at the end point. Make sure you gently scooch it back to that end point because you don't want to mess that up. That can mess up your measurement. Okay, what else do you notice about my cubes? I'm going to go ahead and jot down our rules here. So my first rule we had to do, we make sure that there's an end point we're measuring from. What else do you notice about my cubes? Notice that all my cubes are touching. There are no gaps. A gap would be like the first time I measured, where I left space in between my cubes. That's not correct. That's going to mess up your measurement. See all the spaces I left? Those are called gaps. I do not want gaps. So we want to match our endpoint. We want to make sure we don't have any gaps in our cubes. We want them to be touching. Okay, do you notice anything else about my cubes? As I continue to gently scour them up to the top of my glue stick. Let's see. Oh, now look. Did this yellow one go past my glue stick? It did, so I'm going to have to take that one off. That one can't count. We only want it to measure the length of our object. Okay? Notice that my cubes are all going in a straight line. Now, remember how I first had my glue stick sideways? I could have done the same thing with my cubes and measured sideways as long as they're still in a straight line going sideways. Okay, we can measure up and down or we can measure side to side. So, the next thing is, before I go ahead and figure out how many centimeters, I want to double check that my end point didn't get messed up. Remember how I said sometimes slowly we can push this down and that's going to change things. So make sure your end point's still good. Now we're going to count our cubes to see how many centimeters. Each cube counts as 1 centimeter. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So my glue stick is 8 centimeter. Whoops. You're going to see these words a lot in your math book today. 8 centimeter cubes long. Okay? Go ahead, grab your glue stick now. You can pause me and practice yourself. Make sure your cubes have an end point, there are no gaps in between, and you have a straight line of them. Okay? Okay, go ahead and pause. See if you get the same answer. Maybe your glue stick is a little different than mine. It could be different length. So try it out. Great. Was your glue stick 8 centimeter cubes as well? Good work. Let's practice something different. I'm going to get rid of my glue stick. I'm going to erase my answer here, but I'm going to keep my rules because those rules are going to apply to anything I measure. So will you go ahead and grab your marker next? I'm going to use my red one here. Okay, let's see if it'll stay. Oh, it'll stay, so I'll do this one sideways. Okay, make sure we're following our rules. Grab yours too. Let's do this one together. Make sure you have an end point. Our cubes are going to have no gaps in them, and they're going to be in a straight line. So since my marker is laying lengthwise this way now, I'm going to start with my end point over here. I can line my first cube up with the bottom of my marker, and then I'm going to have to carefully add some more. All right, do you have yours done? Let's check to see if I followed my rules. Do I have an end point? My yellow one's lined up with my marker. Are there no gaps? Uh-oh, I see lots of gaps here. I'm going to need to fix that. And if there are gaps, are they at least in a straight line? Oh no, look, I accidentally curved mine down like this. Can't have that either. That's going to mess up my answer. I better fix that. No gaps and a straight line. Is this looking better? Oh yes. Okay, I hope yours is looking good too. Have a few more, and ooh, look. I'm almost to the end of my marker, but it has this little knob at the end of it. I have to count that part too. It's still part of my marker. So, now let's check. I make sure I have an end point. Yep, I don't have gaps. Nope. And they're in a straight line. That's pretty straight to me. Okay, let's count and find out how many centimeter cubes long our marker is. Yours might be different than mine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Notice how I counted nice and slow. I took my time, made sure I counted one number with one cube. I can even double check if I'm not too sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yep. So my marker is 12 centimeter cubes long. Was yours the same? Or maybe different? Oops. Good work, but make sure you're checking your guidelines. Take a peek at how you measured. Do you have an end point? No gaps in a straight line of cubes? Awesome job, first graders. Okay, I'm going to slide my cubes back over to the side. Get rid of my marker. Get rid of my answer here. I can leave my rules there just in case we need them. I'm going to grab my math book now, which might cover up my rules a little bit. That's okay. Okay, I still have my cubes ready because I'm going to need them for my problem set today. Okay, boys and girls, we will go through this first page on the problem set. We'll do a couple of the first ones together, but then you're going to have to be super responsible because I want you to pause the video to measure something, get your own answer, and then you can push play to check your answer with mine. Okay? So let's do the first two together. The pencil is first, and then the pan. So the directions say measure the length of each picture with your cubes. Complete the statement below. Number 1 says the pencil is blank centimeter cubes long. So let's get our cubes. My pencil is laying long ways, so I'm going to match up my end point with the end of that pencil. 1. Ooh, so it's a little harder on that paper. They slide a little easier. Okay. Filled up my whole pencil. Now double check yours. Do you have an end point? No gaps in a straight line. The answer is yes. You should have 3 cubes lined up. Okay? Let's go ahead and do the pan. Now, the end of the pan is way over here, and I need to measure all the way to this handle. Okay, go ahead and measure with me. Now, it's okay to overlap your cubes with the picture just a little bit to help you really measure up that end point. But don't cover it up so much that you can't see where it stops. Okay, there's 3, and I'm not quite done. I still have to measure that handle part. Oh, and I see I accidentally just pushed it over a little bit, so I'm just going to gently push it back. And there we go. It covered all my handle. So, how long is the pan? Count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good job. Your pan should have 5 centimeter cubes in a straight line with an endpoint and no gaps in between. Okay, next we have the shoe. So here's where you're going to have to focus and pause to measure, then play to check your answer. Okay, so go ahead and pause right now, measure your shoe, then push play to check your answer. Make sure you pause. The correct answer for the shoe was 4 centimeter cubes long. Okay, you should have 4 for the shoe. Now let's try the bottle. A quick tip, first graders, is if something gives you a nice straight arrow line like this to help you measure, use the line. It's way, 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 way easier than trying to figure out the tippy top of the bottle because it's kind of got curves and things going on. So use this line, first graders. Let's see how long. Whoop. I need to start at the tippy top of that arrow. Let's see how long our bottle is. How many did we get? Look, I'm barely even looking at the bottle. I'm just looking at that line because I know that line is there for me to help measure that bottle. So our bottle should be 5 centimeter cubes long. Okay, ready? Pause me. Measure your paintbrush now. So this is going to be going in a diagonal line, but your cube should still be straight. Okay, handle to the tips of the brush. The paintbrush is blank centimeter cubes long. Pause me now to measure. From the end of the handle to the tip of the brush and the bristles, it is 4 centimeter cubes long. Good job. Now go ahead and pause again. Our next one is the bag. The bag is blank centimeter cubes long. So look, they give you a line again. Use the line, please. Go ahead and pause to measure. The bag, 1, 2, 3, 4, is 4 centimeter cubes long. Are you pausing to do your own work before you check mine? Make sure you are. Okay, the next one is the ant. I'm going to measure the ant from his antennae up here all the way to his back legs. Pause me, then push play to check your answer. The ant is 3 centimeter cubes long. Give yourself a pat on the back if you got that right. Now let's last try the cupcake. Pause to measure on your own, then play to check your answer. I used that nice straight line to help me measure my cupcake, and it was 2 centimeter cubes long. If you put them in a straight line, you should only have room for 2. Alright, boys and girls, I went ahead and I turned the page now that we've practiced measuring a lot of things. Okay, go ahead and just turn the page and you'll see some baseball bats. Your last task today is going to be finishing this page. Okay, and when you're finished with this page, it's going to be best if you just take a picture of it to show your teacher, because if we were to post this on your iPad, the measurement might be different measuring it on the iPad than on your paper. So make sure you measure it on your paper in your math book today. Go ahead and grab your pencil, and I want you to take a peek at number 12, and you can put an X on it. That means you do not have to do it. If you would like to, go right ahead, but you must do number 9, 10, and 11. Okay? On number 9, you will measure the cow sticker. So see how this is a curved line? We don't measure things on a curved line, so they're helping us out by giving us this nice measurement line. You can line your cubes up right on that line to help you decide how long the cow sticker is. Then, for number 10, it says the vase. So we're not measuring the flowers with it. See where your line is? It's just showing the vase. We do not want to measure on a curve. We want to measure on a straight line. So go ahead and measure the vase. And number 11, you have to circle the picture that shows the correct way to measure. So look at how letter A, or box A, measured the baseball bat, and look at the way box B measured the baseball bat. And your job is to decide which way was measured correctly using the rules of an end point, no gaps, and a straight line. Okay, one of them is breaking some rules, so you have to circle the one that's not breaking any of the rules. Okay, so measure cow sticker, measure your vase, and figure out which box and circle the box that measures the baseball bat correctly. Then just head to Seesaw, and all you'll have to do is take a picture big enough for your teacher to read all your numbers and see what you circled. Good luck and happy measuring!